Hi, welcome back to Burning River Bushcraft. I've noticed in my videos I do a lot of talking about my 10-piece kit, but I've never actually broken it down on video. So I'm going to take an opportunity today to break down my 10-piece kit. So I do a lot of gear testing and experimenting with other types of gear, but one thing that has remained the same for several years now is the core of my 10-piece kit. Now of course I always got a cutting tool attached to my body, a fire kit also, but this is independent of that. This is something that usually I carry in a haversack. I've got two different size haversacks and also a small backpack that I will occasionally carry this in. So let's break into this and see what I have. So getting into my kit here, right on top I keep a pair of gloves. All leather gloves are preferred. These are mechanics wear gloves. These just happen to be what I have. They're about worn out and they're ready for a new pair. But I keep these right on top under the flap. That way it saves my hands a lot of wear and tear, especially if I'm gathering material around, poison ivy or any type of thorns. So that is a handy thing that I always keep on top of my kit. Next up is my 32-ounce nesting cup and water bottle. This is stainless steel. This is the Pathfinder model. And then I have a cup with a stove to nest on top of it. The stove itself is not mandatory. The cup and the bottle is that's a key component to my kit. The stove's handy to have. It doesn't weigh much to keep it on there. It also lets me filter and strain. If I'm trying to rinse off wild edibles, I can use this as a digging tool also. So I just keep it in there. Next up is I always keep a roll of number 36 bank line. Now this kit is constantly being used by me, so I don't always have a full roll with me. This is probably about a 3/4 roll, so this is something I'm constantly cycling through. If I get down to where I barely have enough, in my opinion, sometimes I'll pull that off and wrap it up into 50-foot hanks and grab a fresh roll. This is something that I keep on hand around the house so that I'm never without it. Also, I've got my Baco Laplander. So this is a second cutting tool besides the primary tool that's on my belt. This is handy to have, for any type of crafting work. It makes life a lot easier to have. Okay, this is my shelter. So this is a 5x7 reusable space blanket. This is kind of neat. This is the outside of this. I have a black band hunting weight slingshot band, and I use this as a bungee cord basically. So besides the fact that I can make a slingshot with it, it's a bungee cord to hold my shelter kit together, and I can also use this as a spring engine for a trip up snare. And then inside the 5x7, I have a ridge line. This is all set up already with a bow line on one end. I've got my Pressig loops on here already. They're different colors so I can ID everything on the move. And then I also have 2 metal stakes and 4 fatwood stakes. So these aren't the strongest stakes obviously because it's pine, but it's an excellent backup tinder source. So if I'm in a real wet environment, I can always sacrifice one of my stakes to make a fire. If I break one, so be it, I'll burn it up anyway. If I'm in hard ground, I do have my metal stakes to get me by. Also in this tarp setup, I keep two 55-gallon two 55-gallon drum liners, and I'm using those to kneel on right now because it was raining all last night and I'm in a mud hole again. I keep a backup cutting tool. Doesn't really matter what it is. In this case, this is a Mora Casbowl, I believe is what this is. But usually some type of Mora, more of a finer carving type knife. That's what I generally tend to carry in my bag. This is a small handkerchief. I've been carrying my titanium fork, spoon, light my fire eating utensil, and then also this is a fish spreader that I can use with either my bottle or my cup. For cooking. Then I've got this as an extra piece of bandana for first aid. It lets me clean up after cooking. It's kind of handy to have. Now in here there is a second small canvas bag. This one's made by Bushcraft. On the back of it I have a fire steel blanket pin all combo from Pathfinder School. This is not really part of my kit. It's just a handy place to have it, so I keep it on here. Right on top of this canvas bag is my flashlight. So this is a headlamp. I have my compass. This is a K&R compass. I also have a whistle and a set of paste beads attached to this. Also in here is, I've got a piece of steel wool for cleanup, also for fire starting. Here is an orange bandana, so I can make char with this, I can make a bandage with this. It's great because it's orange. I can use it for a flag if I needed self-rescue, or if I was just trying to mark an area and make sure I could get my way back to camp. I have my sail needle tucked into the bandana, that way I don't lose it. I've got a small Write and Rain notebook with a carpenter pencil. A couple more sticks of fat wood for fire. Here's my cargo tape. This is the 1-inch roll of duct tape. This is great for gear repair. Primarily it's for first aid, or self-aid. Okay, I've got a small char tin. In here I have Surefire pre-made char. This is charred punk wood, and there's a piece of flint in there also. So the flint, obviously I can use that with my carbon steel knife or my flint striker all blanket pin combo. Here's a Bic lighter for emergency fire. I also have spare batteries for my headlamp. This with the steel wool will also give me another means of making a fire. Backup batteries, so I have 2 sets of batteries. Then down in the bottom of this bag I have a second needle. This is a 1 size smaller sail needle, and I carry 3, these are probably like 16D nails. Tons of uses around camp. I can make an awl. You know, a lot of the traps I can use for this. This saves a lot of binding just having a spare nail or two. So it's something I always carry with me. Doesn't weigh much. Down in the bottom of my bag, I carry a multi-tool. This is actually 2 multi-tools in 1 pouch. This is a Leatherman Super Tool. And then I have the small Micra Leatherman piggybacked on the same sheath. This has got small tweezers on it, so it's handy if you get a tick or a splinter or something. This is not mandatory kit. If I start pulling stuff out to leave it, my Leatherman is one of the first things I'll pull out. Swiss Army knife does a lot of the same things as this, but the pliers are real handy to have around camp. And then the only other thing I have in here, this is probably about 12 feet of 1-inch military webbing. Makes great super strong cordage if you need to lift a heavy object or drag a deer or something out of the woods. But the main reason I carry it, this is the Bushcraft haversack, and it's got a slot in the back to make a Roycroft pack. So I make a triangle Roycroft pack, which I'll do in another video here. Slip this over the back, and these become my shoulder straps. So again, this doesn't weigh much. It's got a lot of versatility to it, and it's something I like to keep with me. Alright, hope you enjoyed my review of my 10-piece kit. Key thing to remember with this is not 10 items that I'm taking into the woods and that's it. This is 10 categories. So like I said before, I've got 5 methods of making fire on me. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, I got 5 cutting tools on me. So there are redundancies in the key components. So this is my choice for a 10-piece kit. It's small enough and light enough where I can carry it without a lot of problems. For the most part, everything came out of the bag compartmentalized. That's another thing I like about it. If I switch haversacks or switch to a backpack, I've got my water bottle and cup as one item. My shelter kit comes out as one item, and then the small bag holds the remainder of the kit for the most part. The only other thing in there is multi-tool, my saw, and my roll of bank line. You know, the other items, if they're not in there or they don't get transferred from one bag to another, it's not that big a deal.